If you are sitting on an idea, God put it inside of you. If he put it inside of you, if he gave you the idea, then the how to do it is there as well. You just got to go for it, trust it, move. And if there's any type of tuning and things you need to learn, I promise you'll learn it along the way.
Welcome back to HBCU4U podcast, the show where we sit down with HBCU alumni, educators, and community leaders who are out here making real moves and inspiring the next generation. I am your host, Galen Turner, and today's guest is one of my fellow Jackson State classmates, and I'm proud to have her on the podcast. Tyronica Carter is a former educator turned seven-figure entrepreneur, business building coach, professional MC, event host, and four-time published author. She earned her bachelor's from Jackson State, her master's from Walden, and spent 15 years in education before taking a leap into entrepreneurship full-time. What started as a side hustle became a major business platform where she now coaches, trains, and inspires thousands. She led a network of over 155,000 consultants, hosted major events, been featured on magazine covers and media platforms, and earned honors like Female Entrepreneur of the Year and Top 50 Women of Influence. Through it all, her message stays the same. Outdream yourself. And that's exactly the kind of energy she brings. I'm honored to welcome Tyronica Carter to the podcast. Welcome.
Yay.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Galen, for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I am excited to have you. Let's jump straight into it. All right. Question number one. What's your HBCU story and what led you to choose Jackson State University in the first place?
Well, my HBCU story is kind of a maybe classic one, but it really involves the fact that Jackson State is my family school. My aunts, uncles, cousins have all attended Jackson State University. I even have current relatives that are there, including my cousin who was just named head coach of the men's basketball team, Trey Johnson. And so, yes, he is my cousin. And so it is a family school. I didn't even apply to any other colleges. Even when I moved away from Mississippi at a young age to Dallas, Texas, I always knew I wanted to go back to Jackson State. So I grew up Jackson State. I grew up blue and white. I grew up a Tiger, and I will always be a Jackson State Tiger.
Hey now. What the folks be doing?
This right here, we are blue and white all the way around.
That is fantastic. I didn't know your family history ran that deep with Jackson State. I kind of had an idea. I knew you had, your background was from Mississippi originally. Kind of had an idea, but I didn't know it ran that deep. And I for sure didn't know that Trey was your cousin. So
yes, he is my cousin.
I'm sorry, Coach Trey.
Coach Trey.
Coach Trey. Fantastic. Before the entrepreneur and business coach version of Tyronica Carter showed up, who were you when you first got to Jackson State?
Man, when I first got to Jackson State, I don't know. I think I was just a shy person. I've always been an introvert. A lot of people won't believe that now. Even to this day, in some aspects, I'm an introvert. I'm the type of person who I do a lot of observation. I'm cool and friends with everybody. I didn't always let too many people in to get close like that. However, I think I was always a friendly person, someone that I could relate to, talk to, join in any group and have a conversation with. But I was definitely someone with big dreams, big determination. I always kept my head focused on what my goals were. And of course, at that time, it was just simply getting a college degree.
Fantastic. And I can attest to that. If you haven't figured out already, we were classmates and we developed a rapport as well. And, our circles hung out together. So I can definitely attest to that. And I'm not surprised that you have a level of shyness. That's good. I'm glad you mentioned that, because in a lot of cases, when you're in a room it's good to be observant first
Yeah.
and read the room and then navigate from there. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, a lot of times
That's
people can misinterpret that as you kind of being standoffish, and that's really not the case. Once I get to know you, we get to know each other. I'm a very, of course, friendly person, but I'm outgoing in a lot of aspects, but I definitely am that reserved type person at first, and that's just who I am. I've always been that way.
hey, be you, be true to
Yes,
yourself. Fantastic. You're a former educator turned entrepreneur.
yes.
At what point did you realize your path was shifting from the classroom into business leadership?
So that's a good question because of the fact that being a teacher is what I've always wanted to do. Just like Jackson State was my only school choice, education was the only thing that I considered in becoming and doing with my life. From the time I was a child, summers was spent with my sisters and I playing classroom, and I, of course, would be the teacher. And I loved grading papers. My grandmother was in education, and I loved, helping her decorate the library. She was a librarian, and those type of things. So you know, I didn't expect a shift from going from educator to entrepreneurship. Quite honestly, entrepreneurship scared me. I didn't know anything about it. To me, it felt like a big responsibility and a lot of things to handle. However, if you know any teachers, a lot of them have side hustles, something to supplement their income. And that's kind of where entrepreneurship began to kind of take a role in my life because I wanted to try to do something else just to bring some additional income in to supply my shopping habit and all the cute girly things that I love to do. And so, I decided to give it a try with network marketing. That's what I got into. And again, it was kind of scary because my background is in education. I don't have a marketing degree. I don't have a business degree. I didn't have any type of experience or access to those things. And so when I decided to give it a try, I just went with my heart. I just did what felt was right. I didn't really have the proper training other than just kind of jumping in and getting into sales. And so I felt the shift was coming once I realized, well, number one, when I started doing better over there in entrepreneurship than I was as a teacher, I decided to go and jump in and give it 100%. But I felt the shift changing once I realized, hey, I'm pretty good at this. I grew a business pretty quickly, even just in 2 years before I left the education field. And, people were coming to me for advice and how to grow their team and how to do the business to help them in the way that I had done it in growing so quickly myself. So I felt that shift and change like, okay, I'm still helping people, I'm still educating, I'm still teaching, maybe this is something else. And so I love it now. And people tell me all the time, Ty, you're still an educator. Your classroom just looks different now. And I say that, being in a classroom for 15 years was my internship. It was God's way of preparing me for the heavy load that I have now as a full-time entrepreneur.
Fantastic. So what I heard out of all that is you found a way to support your habit. That's what I got out of all that.
Listen, the
And this
passion
is
will
one of the
drive you.
positive
The passion will drive you one way or the other, okay?
this is one of the positive sides of figuring out to support your habit. And in this case, your habit was shopping. Is that correct? Did I
and
hear that
and
correctly?
even moving into the network marketing, I still shop for a living. I still shop for a living, so I'm still winning all the way around.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful.
Yes.
Your brand is centered on helping people launch businesses and think bigger. How much of that confidence and vision was shaped during your time at Jackson State?
Oh wow. Listen, being at a HBCU is one of the best things and best decisions I know that I made, especially growing up. Um, I went to middle school, high school, in an integrated school where it was, all kinds of nationalities, races. And while I do feel like that, I appreciate that experience because I feel like I can get along, talk to, have a conversation with, do whatever I need to do with anybody of any race, nationality. I wholeheartedly appreciate that experience. But it's nothing like a HBCU to be around others who understand you just a little bit better, and teachers who will put in that little bit extra, push for you. who will cheer you on, even when you may have setbacks during college, as I did. At one point, I had a setback, but during that whole time, Dr. Harvey, our honors, coordinator at the time, she pushed me and she called me during those times. And so that confidence booster is something that I just feel like you wouldn't always get all the way around at somewhere else other than somewhere like Jackson State at HBCU. So I definitely know that my confidence was boosted in the fact of the major support and continuous support that I got from not just my professors, but also my classmates and my colleagues, and being able to see them pursue and be successful in just the way that I was. You see people who look like you, are just like you, who are pushing towards the same goals, and they achieve it. That's amazing to me.
I tell people all the time, you want to go somewhere. It's an old saying, I didn't make it up, but as far as college is concerned, and specifically to HBCUs, you want to go somewhere where you're celebrated and not just tolerated.
Yep.
And as far as your maturation and your development, in most cases, it can just make a monumental difference, right?
Yes.
In how you excel, not just through college, but throughout life as well.
Yes, that is exactly right. I'm so happy that both of my sons, chose an HBCU. It was nothing that I wanted to force on them or make them do. But they both, it wasn't Jackson State, but they both chose HBCUs. And for that, I really love that, because I can see them being celebrated and I can see them being pushed into their greatness of who they are as well.
I'm happy to hear both of your sons went to HBCU as well. And one already graduated, right? We'll,
Yes.
we'll just take a quick segue. And how far along is your baby? It's your baby boy, right? That's
Yes,
in
my baby boy, my youngest, he's about to enter his junior year into Tuskegee,
Tuskegee. Fantastic. And the eldest, he went where?
to Bethune Cookman.
Bethune Cookman. And that's in Daytona, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Fantastic. Your site describes you as a business launch coach and strategist. What are the biggest mistakes you see people make when they try to start a business without a real plan?
One of the biggest mistakes I see that people make when trying to start a business without a real plan, I'll be honest, that was definitely me in the beginning, because I just didn't have any direction. And I would say not getting a mentor. And even if you don't get a mentor, right out, one-on-one, face-to-face coaching, there are a lot of social media, online people that can mentor you without even knowing that they're mentoring you, right? So what I ended up doing was following. Once I realized, okay, this is network marketing, it's all the same no matter what your product is, I began to follow those who I knew were gurus in the business. Whether I got to have a whole conversation with them or not, whether or not they interacted with me or not, I studied and I watched them. So if you don't necessarily have a plan, the best thing to do is make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, that you find someone who is doing the same thing on the level where you want to get to, and you mirror them, but you put your own thing on it, right? You mirror them and you make sure that you are putting yourself in it 100% of your own authentic self. And so that's the most important part when it comes to first starting, building your own brand, is making sure that you are yourself. You are you. People buy into you and not necessarily always the product of business that you're sharing. So once you've captured the audience in that way, in that manner of them loving and liking you, that's when you know that you're on the right path to a great start. So definitely find a coach, a mentor, someone that is where you desire to be or see yourself, and you follow that path, and then be your authentic self.
Fantastic. Okay, let's talk about this marketing network that you've built. You've built and led a networking group with over 146,000 members. What did leadership on that scale teach you about people, consistency, and influence?
Ooh, so building a network of that large, and I know people all the time are like, wait, what? Because we're actually at now 156,000 on my downline. Of course, I don't put my hands on all 156,000 of those people. The most important part is when you're leading a network like that is to build other leaders. If you're doing it all by yourself, if you're the only one in the room that's the smartest person and the one that's putting down all the drops and gems and information, then you're definitely not doing it right. I don't proclaim to know it all. I don't try to run my business in a way where it's like, hey, do what I say, whatever I say goes. I'm all about building other leaders, learning from each other, gleaning off of each other, and ensuring that the next person, female boss, guy boss, whatever, is feeling that same amount of pride and energy and self-confidence that, that it took me a while to get to when during this business. I wasn't always a confident person. I wasn't always sure that I was doing the right thing and leading such a large group. But, once you network and you get with like-minded people and you build that type of energy and culture in your team, because it's building that culture is the most important thing as well, then you know that you're doing the right thing. And so, leading a team that big, especially in network marketing, because people leave the business, they come and they go. People just don't even just come back. They go, and it is what it is. But you have to have that confidence in knowing what exactly you're doing, have that love and passion for it, and then duplicate yourself into others to having that same energy and drive.
Fantastic. So, if I heard you correctly, what I gathered, you might have said this explicitly, but what I heard implicitly was you not only lead your team, but you empower your leaders to lead their respective subgroups as well. Is that a
Absolutely. Absolutely.
fantastic?
Yes. Because I mean,
Fantastic.
there's no way that I could put hands on. You have sometimes people who are 10, 12, 11 levels down from me, and they'll get lost in the whole group if they don't have someone that's right there tangible to touch and be able to. And so you want to also, again, empowering other people to have the same walk in the same experience that I have. I don't want to be the only person at the top. I don't want to be the only girl boss in the group. I want others to have the same experience and success that I've had along the way.
All right. You talk about you talk a lot about social media branding, recruiting, onboarding, and success habits. Which one do you think most people underestimate when they're trying to grow?
Ooh, two of those actually.
Go for it.
Onboarding is important. Once you can recruit all day long, but once you recruit those people, then what? How do you keep the retention there? How do you keep them interested in what you have recruited them to do? So on a strong onboarding process is important in order to get the people who you brought on to see the vision, to have a vision for themselves, which goes into the next one, what you said was successful habits. So my company incorporates something called weekly habits of success. And basically what that is they have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. If you repeat these weekly habits every week each month, then you're bound to see success. Why? Because the main thing you always hear about is consistency, right? And so when the next month repeats, there's no reinventing the wheel. You repeat week 1, you repeat week 2. And so one of the things that I implemented with my team, I took it a step further and I call it personalized habits of success. And the reason is because success may look different for you than it does for me, right? So even though the ultimate goal for all of us is to see some type of success, we want to do it in our own way. So I always have my team to do the personalized habits of success. What does success look like for you? Well, then what should that look like on week 1? What that should that look like on week 2? And then to further it, week 3, week 4, and then when a new month hits, repeat it. When you're repeating these habits of success, you guys, that's when you make it a habit, you habitually do it, and you're going to see the results. And so, onboarding, putting a system in place, and creating those personalized habits of success to me is really what makes a strong start when you're doing your business.
I love hearing that personalized success because it sounds like you're setting your people up for success, right? to start at goals that are attainable for them specifically.
Exactly.
And so once they see they achieve those goals, that it continues to encourage them to keep going and keep going. So I love that.
Exactly. Again, because your goals and your success and what you're driving for is maybe different from me. I don't ever have my team come in and say, listen, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. I always ask them, what are your goals? What is it that you want to see in this business? And once they tell me that, I say, okay, well, let's create some habits and let's make some goals based off what it is you want to see. Because here's the thing. One of my favorite quotes is, once you see success, it becomes an addiction, right? It becomes an addiction once you see that success. And at the end of the day, your goal is going to start off here. But I promise you, once you see that success and once you see results, your goal is going to continue to grow and strive. And once that happens, you everything is revolving. Everything is revolving. And so it'll change according to how you decide that you want to change it and grow.
Fantastic. And we have a great segue question. Your slogan is Outdream Yourself.
Yes.
What does that mean to you personally? And how did you grow into that mindset?
That mindset came to me, just of the fact how I became in awe of how, I know my story is not one that is common, just of how fast of the success grew for myself and my team. It's not anything that I felt like I strived or particularly went after. It just kind of came. And so, I'm a girl from Mississippi, and I just wanted to become an educator. I don't feel like I had big dreams and goals because we really came up during a time where it was go to school, become a teacher, doctor, lawyer. You didn't really hear of other options of success. Or if you did, you felt like you didn't have the right resources and the people to follow and help you get there, right? And so when everything started happening and my business and becoming an entrepreneur started changing my life, it really did make me feel like this is something that I would have never thought to go after myself. God is funny about how he pushes you into places as long as you're obedient and kind of just heeding to what it is that he's put in front of you. I say all the time, I was pushed into this without even knowing I was being pushed into it. And so I just was obedient to whatever was telling me or making me feel like, just do it, just do it. And so, the results have become something that's amazing. The fact that my husband and I and my children are able to travel as much as we do around the world. I didn't even have a passport until I was 37. And that was because I
Wow.
and that was because I earned a free trip with my company. Otherwise, I don't know when I would have even thought to get a passport or travel abroad. And so that makes me say all the time, outdream yourself, because the dreams that you have or the goals and where you envision yourself, because at the end of the day, where I envision myself is somewhere along maybe admin and administration and education. I never would have thought to dream this big or travel the way that I do, or be able to put my sons through college, and my oldest graduated debt free. We're working on that with my youngest son. And so it's like completely like outdream yourself. Don't limit what it is. And one of the biggest things too is just because an opportunity comes to you in a way that you didn't imagine, right? You've been praying for this. You've been praying, God, change my circumstances. Lord, bring me something new. But when it's brought to you in something that's all crumbled, crunched up, and you're just like, no, I don't want that. Because you don't know how beautiful you can make it yourself. So just be open to opportunities, even when you don't understand where it might lead you to. So outdream yourself is my mantra, what I live by, and what I also help other people hope that they will strive to do for themselves.
Fantastic. Now, I usually wait to the end to start talking about family, but we've already opened that
Yeah.
box. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to speak on this. Talk to me about the support system you had with your family and your dream of outdreaming yourself. Talk a little bit about that and your family supporting you.
Yeah, again, I think, it may be an uncommon story. I have a big support system when it comes to definitely my husband, especially being in the business. Once I kind of, the business that I'm in is a lot of women, mostly women, and I didn't realize how common it was to not be supported by so many women, especially from their spouses, who a lot of the women quit the business because their husbands did not see the success or the opportunity or the possibility that was there. But my husband never, had that problem. He supported me 100%. He was actually the one who even pushed me to even start it. When he was like, okay, well, if you're looking for something to do, how about you do that? You like shopping, your teacher friends could afford the product, give it a try. Sure. My children, a lot of people try to understand, where do their children fit in? How do you balance motherhood and having children and working a full-time job while trying to pursue entrepreneurship? And I tell people all the time, one of the things I did with my sons, they were much younger at the time because I started 11 years ago, is I involved them with it. After dinner was made, after they did homework, I said, hey, why don't you come help mom organize and sort my inventory, check my inventory for me, help me package up things. So they were involved and they saw the hard work that went into it. And so because of that, we all felt a sense of success once we began to see the fruits of our labor. And so when you do that and you involve everyone in the process, then it takes them through there to have the same understanding of what's happening. You see what I'm saying? It's not mommy is saying, hey, y'all go over there while I'm trying to work. Hey, don't bother me right now. It was always, how can I involve them in the process? And so because of that, it made it a lot easier for them to support me. And I'm definitely blessed in that area.
Fantastic. Beautiful. All right. What's one thing Jackson State gave you beyond the degree that you still use in business today?
I would say that what Jackson State gave me beyond a degree that I use today is pride. We Jacksonians are very prideful. We definitely know how to make sure that we are continuing to engage and, give back and contribute to our school. And so I think that's something Jackson State really instilled in me, is a sense of pride, hard work, goal setting, and then a sense of community. Because I have was engaged in community at Jackson State. I'm engaged in community with my family as well. I incorporate that with my team. I make sure that we have culture and a sense of community, and everyone can be involved with my team and my business as well.
Thank you for sharing that. You already spoke of outdreaming yourself, right?
Hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about what your current dreams and aspirations are that you're setting to achieve. Talk a little bit about that, if you would care to speak on maybe one or two of your goals that you can speak on.
That's a good question. Some of my current dreams, again, because so much has happened again over the past 11 years that has been amazing, things that I never would have thought, again, outdreaming yourself, that I never even thought for myself. It makes me realize about not putting a cap on, right? Not putting a ceiling on what you dream and what it is that you desire and want out of life, and lets you know that anything is possible. So I would honestly say that my current dreams in life, and I know you said for me, but anything involving me involves my family. And I just want to ensure that my two sons have seen the hard work, understand the hard work, and want that for themselves. I would want the legacy to continue, and the legacy, even if it's not necessarily with my current business, which everyone wants that to carry on, but just for them to build their own legacy and goals. I want to see where it wasn't in vain. I'm definitely, for myself and my husband, we benefited, but I want my children to benefit from it as well. So my current goal and dream is to just continue to build a legacy, continue to work hard, and take the cap off, continuing to do better than I've done before. Because one of the things I like to do, I want to know, how can I beat my best? How can I do better than I did the day before? What more can I do and accomplish? I don't ever want to stay stagnant. If it's anything else that I feel like aligns with my brand and what it is that I do that I can put my fingers on, I'm going to do it. And I want my children to be able to see that and take from that and be able to implement it themselves as they go into adulthood.
Fantastic. I
Yes.
love it. Final question. For students and recent graduates listening right now, especially those sitting on a business idea, what would you say to help them stop hesitating and start moving?
Oh, listen, because I can honestly say I did that for years before I made the leap into entrepreneurship. Being afraid of the unknown, feeling like I wasn't educated enough. I have so many business ideas pre me leaving into entrepreneurship that dealt with education, that I could have done, but I felt unsure of myself, and that was mostly because I was not educated enough. So one of the things with the opportunity that I got, I just leaped and I did what felt right, right? Yes, you should have a plan. Yes, you should have some type of navigation to get you through whatever it is you're sitting on. But it's nothing like getting out there and getting that raw experience. Listen, you're going to fail. Fail forward. There's nobody who has been successful in any business who has not failed or does not have a story of failure. Don't let these people fool you of the success that you see. Their chapter 20 cannot compare to your chapter 1. Everyone has to start somewhere. And so I would just say, if you are sitting on an idea, God put it inside of you. If he put it inside of you, if he gave you the idea, then the how to do it is there as well. You just got to go for it, trust it, move. And if there's any type of tuning and things you need to learn, I promise you'll learn it along the way.
Ooh, your chapter 20, their chapter 20 is not your chapter. Woo!
Yeah. Yeah. But and see,
I
that's
love
what
that.
happens. A lot of people get so caught up in the what you see now. I have to remind my team of that even now. Listen, you guys, I'm 11 years in. So the way I run my business is on a whole nother level of how you need to run your business as a beginner, as a person who needs to get your name out there, as a person who needs to gain the trust and the relationships and the customer base with your people. I've had 11 years experience of that. Now, does that mean that I don't do it on that level? No, but I can do it with a little bit more, ease than someone who's on their chapter 1. You have to put in the work, and it's going to come with losses and failures, and that's okay. You just got to know how to navigate it and keep going. Expect the punches, they're going to come.
Love it. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I want people to hear just a little bit more about you and hubby and where you met, because I think that's also important to this story and your family. So,
Okay.
talk a little bit about that.
So my husband and I, we did meet at Jackson State. We met my sophomore year. However, he likes to, be real funny because he came from Alcorn. he was at
Did
all
he?
he was at Alcorn for 3 years, and he transferred over to Jackson State. He still has that Alcornite love and everything. But I always remind him that he couldn't find what he was looking for at Alcorn, so the good Lord brought him to where he needed to be to find what he needed. And so this August makes 25 years of us being married, and just celebrating our marriage. 25 years this year.
That is beautiful. I did not know that. I'm glad I asked that question.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. And as you already mentioned, you have two boys,
Mm-hmm.
two men at this point.
I
That's
know,
fantastic.
young men, and sometimes I just cringe when I still say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There'll always be your little boys in your heart, right?
Yes.
All right. And that's a wrap. Another powerful episode of HBCU4U podcast. Thank you for pouring into us today. From the classroom to seven figures, from Jackson State to magazine covers, your story is proof that when you bet on yourself, the ceiling keeps rising. To everybody listening, especially the ones sitting on a business idea you've been too scared to start. And that's, you already talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Let this be your sign. Take what she gave us, vision, consistency, and faith in the leap. Then go do the one thing this whole conversation's been about. Outdream yourself. Tyronica, it's been an honor. HBCU4U family, keep building, keep believing. God bless, and we'll see you the next one.
Thank you so
Peace.
much.